Welcome to episode 34 of the Tea and Possibilities podcast. I'm Nikki and this is a podcast all about knitting, crochet and making all the things here in northwest London. You can find me online on Instagram at hippie_Nikki and I'm on Ravelry as Nikki Hippie. If you search for Tea and Possibilities in the groups tab, you will also find our group there as well. The show notes, as always, will be on my blog and you can find the link to everything I've just mentioned just down below. I feel a little bit rusty this week. It's also incredibly early on a Sunday morning. I did want to podcast yesterday, but unfortunately my neighbours were having a bit of a party, so I couldn't, as it was a little bit noisy. And I'm going out today, so I've got up quite early, as you might be able to see, to make sure I can get a podcast out this week, as it's been a while. So if it looks a bit weird or I look a bit tired, I'm really sorry. There was also nobody my height to borrow to focus on. So podcaster problems, guys, podcaster problems. Because it is so early, my tea of the week is my first cup of tea of the day. It's good old PG Tips, incredibly strong. I probably let it brew a little bit too long while I was setting up, but it will keep me going this morning because it is very early for a Sunday. I didn't know 8:45 existed on a Sunday morning. But here I am back from Italy. I am raring to go with a new episode. I am fully on board with autumn, as you may be able to tell from my jumper, and of course, having put this on, it's really, really warm, so I will be changing before I go out. But yeah, I will talk a bit more about Italy at the end of the episode. And before we dive into knit and natter, I would like to do a little bit of a reminder about the Best Year Ever cow. I actually only added my Best Year Ever cow entries to the thread this week. I say entries, I'm not going to win anything, so it seems weird to call them entries, but whatever. The Best Year Ever cow is a year-long knit-along. It started in January, it will end on December the 31st, and all you have to do to qualify is to knit 4 things, and they all have to bring you joy in some way, make it your best year ever, and you could be eligible for winning a prize. There will be another little giveaway in a couple of weeks. The podcast is turning 1 in early October and I would love to do a first birthday giveaway. I do have something to show you in Whipped Up, which will be part of that. And if you would like to donate anything like a pattern or something to that, please do let me know. You can contact me on Ravelry at Nikki Hippie. Well, that's all that out of the way. I actually managed to do it in one take and I'll probably find out at this point that I haven't actually hit record. But in the meantime, let's move on to Whipped Up. This week has been a bit of a struggle, I have to say. I had a fantastic time in Italy, however, we were delayed by 6 or 7 hours coming home, so my plans for a lovely chilled out Monday afternoon were kind of scuppered slightly. I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, but I had a little plan laid out for getting back from my holiday and how we were going to unpack, and I was going to have a bath, and you know, I was going to get everything ready for the next day at work, and then I was going to sit and knit while we caught up on Outlander. And that didn't quite happen, so I've been kind of trying to chase my tail a little bit to catch up this week. So I haven't had the long indulgent knitting session that I have been craving. I'm hoping to get one this evening, so cross your fingers for me. But in the meantime, I do have 2 finished objects. Shockingly enough, both of these finished objects are hats. I know, you wouldn't have guessed. Who would? It's not like I ever knit hats. How did I manage to have 2 finished ones? First up is my Sockhead hat by McClure. This is in my beautiful skein of La Bien-Aimée. It's my very first skein of La Bien-Aimée and I picked it up in Pomfest because it had to come home with me. I just couldn't leave it. I've got the brim turned up because that's how I plan to wear it. It's not blocked yet. I'm going to try and sneak in some blocking before I head out later. And it is, I don't know if you can see, significantly shorter than the one in the pattern. As I said in the last episode, I knit and knit and knit and knit and knit, and then I tried it on and just thought, that's way too long. I felt like a smurf. And I like a little bit of baggy, but not like, don't want to look like Wee Willy Winky, you know? It's just not for me, that look. So I made it so that it's just a little bit of beanie here. I know the lovely Katie on inside number 23 added a pom-pom to hers, but I'm not big into pom-poms. I think they look so lovely, and then I try them on hats. Obviously I don't just stick pom-poms on myself, and I just think I look really weird in pom-poms. I don't know why. I think I look like an elf, and I don't know if that's the look I'm going for. But this won't have a pom-pom on. It's just going to be a lovely light slouchy beanie that I was hoping to wear sooner rather than later, but as I've said, it's a pretty beautiful day out today, so it'll have to wait till later in the year, I think. But I'm very, very happy with it. I think it's beautiful, the yarn is stunning, and as soon as it's blocked and I have a hairbrush to hand, I will try it on and I will get some pictures or some footage and I will insert it for the next episode. My next defo is slightly more bedraggled looking. This is the Fuego hat by Justyna Lorkowska in Madelinelosh. This is the Candlewick colourway. And it looks really squished because it spent a great deal of time in my luggage when we were in Italy. And of course that meant it spent an even longer time in my luggage because it was in my hold luggage while I was sat for 7 hours with nothing to do. This is going to have a pom-pom because this isn't for me. This is actually a birthday present for my nan. And I have asked her if she would like a pom-pom and she said yes. I don't have enough of this yellow left to have a really thick pom-pom, so I am going to get a nice furry one to put on the top, maybe in a cream. I am really looking forward to blocking this later. I think it's going to look absolutely beautiful when this lovely pattern is all stretched out. It's basically called Fuego because they look like flames, shockingly enough. So it starts with the cabling here, just amongst the ribbing, and goes up into these beautiful cabled sections here, and then they just go up into like flames all the way to the top. It is a beautiful pattern, and this is the main reason I was a very grumpy delayed traveller, because I could have finished this at the airport if only it had been to hand. But all I need to do here is weave in a couple of ends, pop it on a balloon, and it will look gorgeous. Oh, I need a pom-pom. But it's basically finished. Once it's got the pom-pom on, once it's blocked, I will try and persuade my nan to pop it on for a photo, maybe a sneaky bit of video so I can share it on the next episode. Next up is my low bandwidth project. This is the project that I work on when I am tired, when I want to watch a film that I need to concentrate on, my Shanghai stripes. I have almost finished the 5th section. I'm just on the yellow row, the last yellow row of that, and then I'll be starting the 6th section. So I have 6, 7, 3 more sections to do. Although I am kind of looking at it and wondering, I might stop before then. I might kind of do a section and then look at it. I think it's going to need 8 repeats of the kind of colour progression. But I'm going to stop and lay it out at the end of every repeat just to see if I can get away with making it a bit smaller, because it takes forever. All these people who are making these beautiful granny stripe blankets, I don't know how you're doing it. You're just caning through them. You're so fast. And then there's me just like plodding along with my little crochet, but I don't know why it's taking me so long, guys. It's a great thing to have when I want to, as I said, do something and I can't think. I don't have to think about a pattern, or when I want to watch something. So for example, the bulk of this repeat got done while watching the first 2 episodes of season 3 of Outlander, which has just started. It ended very emotionally, the last season, so I knew that I was going to need to concentrate, and I got a little bit teary at some points, so it was probably good I wasn't working on anything more complicated, because yeah, this was ideal. Would I crochet another granny stripe blanket? I don't know is the answer. I really like this blanket. I think it's lovely. As I've said before, they're not my colours, but they are beautiful together. And I think it's going to look gorgeous when it's finished. However, as I said, it takes forever, but it is quite nice to have this kind of back burner project. I just don't know if I'd want it in this heavier yarn. This is an Aran weight, and I think I'd quite like a fingering weight one. I think. Just for a bit looser, a little bit lighter. Maybe a DK weight if the fingering weight is just too much to commit to. But yeah, I think I'll take a break, and then I will try my own in a lighter weight. I think I need a break when I'm done with this though, definitely. Also, for those of you who don't know, this blanket was actually inspired by the leftovers from my Crochet Girl Gang blanket. I had so many, I decided to make another blanket, and then of course had to buy some more to finish this blanket. But the Crochet Girl Gang blanket was a beautiful pattern, which I found online at loveknitting.com. It was a collaboration between Steel and Stitch and Potter and Bloom, and I will link to it in the show notes. But I actually made it for my friend's baby, and she very sweetly shared a little video on Instagram, I think it was, or she might have sent it to me directly, of her little one just admiring the blanket and like being all tucked up in it and playing with it and like moving the little tassels. And that's why we make things for other people, just to see that, you know, she loved it, that she was getting use out of it, that, you know, the colours were stimulating for her little one. That was a really happy moment for me, and I was so glad she shared it, because I'm not sure that people who don't knit or crochet understand that little zing that you get when you see something you've made in use and being loved and used. In fact, on that same train of thought, a couple of weekends ago, before we went to Italy, we went to visit some friends in Portsmouth, who are just back from, I think, 5, 6 months travelling. They were gone a while and we missed them a lot. And I had actually been knitting the 2 hats that I finished recently, the pink beeswax and the grey Graham hat. Had been knit for them. I do know that my lovely friend watches the podcast, so that's why I was very vague about who they were for. But we delivered them and they loved them, and it just made me really, really happy to think that something I had spent time on was going to make somebody else happy. So to any non-knitting family or friends who may be in the background while you're watching, make sure your knitter knows that you love what you've made for them, because there is no surer way to make a knitter happy, or a crocheter. My very last project this week is one that I am very happy with, because it's one of my frogged projects. If you remember, a few weeks ago I said that I was going to frog some projects that just weren't going anywhere. They were just lingering and making me feel bad, and I didn't love them, so I was going to scrap them and knit them up into something else that was going to make me happy. One of the things that I frogged was my Cornish Lily Pilly. This was knit out of custom dyed yarn from Stranded, which I got 2 years ago, with the intention of making the Lily Pilly in beachy stripes with the blue lace, so it was going to look like a Cornish beach in my mind. And I loved it at first, and I just hit the lace and found I don't really like lace that much. I don't think that I would wear lace. I don't massively enjoy knitting it. I prefer cables, if I'm honest, probably because I don't wear it that often and I like wearing cables. So I pulled it out and I cast on The Colour Affection by Veera Välimäki. The idea is still the same. The blue is meant to look like the sea, and the stripes are going to look like the sand, kind of with the beach, you know, the washing of the waves against the beach. So it's still very much on theme, but I like knitting it so much more. It is all in garter stitch, it is squishy, it is delicious, and it is just easy. I took this to a big work meeting this week, and I was knitting on it while there was the presentations going on, and I barely had to look at the pattern. I only had to refer to the pattern a couple of times for the increases to remind myself where they needed to fall exactly. But yeah, it's beautiful. Amy of Stranded is no longer offering custom dyes. As I said, I did get this 2 years ago. I think it was 2015. I got it for my birthday. So she's no longer offering custom dyes, but her yarn is beautiful, absolutely stunning. And even though I've got 2 sweater quantities of her yarn, she's just released this BFL base called Fjord. And honestly, the way it takes colour is insane. And I kind of feel like I need more sweater quantities from her. But this is beautiful. I'm really enjoying it. This is actually now not going to be for me because I just thought my mum would love it so much. It would look so beautiful on her. So I'm knitting this for my mum, and I don't know why I look shiftily out of the door then because she's not here at the moment. But I'm knitting this for my mum as a Christmas present, and I was a little bit concerned that I wasn't going to get it done in time, but actually I'm almost finished the stripy section, and then there's only, I think, 2 more sections to go. I'd have to double check the pattern. But yeah, it's knitting up so quickly because it is such a joy, and I love it, and I can't wait to get it blocked and wrapped. Yeah, she's gonna love it. So I'm very, very happy indeed with this. This is such a fun knit. As I said, I do have 2 sweater quantities of yarn from Stranded. I also have a sweater quantity from the Yarn Collective, and these are kind of earmarked for sweaters already. The Yarn Collective is going to be the Ginger Jumper by Libby Johnson, and the 2 Stranded quantities are going to be a Pavement and a Soiree. I am hoping to get them swatched this week or next weekend, because what you have just seen me working on is basically all I have on the needles. I have the Shanghai striped blanket, I have my Cozy Memories blanket, which I will probably be digging out when it gets a little bit cooler, and I have the Colour Affection. That's it. Is that it? That can't be it. I literally couldn't believe that, so I've just gone and checked my Ravelry, and yes, that is all I've got on the needles. A shawl that I'm actively working on, a Cozy Memories blanket that's in kind of hiatus at the moment till it gets cooler, and the Shanghai stripes. That's it. My Hortensia is still marked as a whip because I haven't sewn the buttons on yet, but once that's done, which I'm going to try and do today, that's it. 3. 2 of them are blankets. 1 of them is in hiatus. None of them are for me. So I definitely think that I want to get my jumpers cast on. I think I'm going to go for the Pavement first, and I also want to start my mittens by Skein Deer Knits, which are absolutely beautiful, and I just can't wait to have a go at colour work. So I think I'm going to try in the next couple of weeks to get those cast on. We are moving in 3 weeks' time, so I'm hoping to get them cast on before then. Otherwise there'll be a bit of a cast on treat once we are settled, once all of the box moving madness is done with. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about sweaters that I'm planning to cast on very soon is because I received something really beautiful in the post just before I went away, I think. Yeah, it was just before I went away, and I can't wait to share it with you. A little while ago I received a really lovely Ravelry message from Carol, who owns the Single Strand Etsy shop, asking if she could send a little something for the podcast. And this is what I received. Isn't it gorgeous? This is the bag for me, and as you can see, this is going to be pretty much perfect size to keep my sweaters in as I'm working on them. And of course, it is Dumbledore's Army, my absolute favourite people. We've got Ron, we've got Hermione, we've got Harry, and just here is the name of the shop on a tiny little leather tag, a single strand, and that is such a beautiful touch. And just here I've got a tiny little wand that hangs here, which is actually removable, so I can use it as a progress keeper. These tiny details are just amazing, and the whole bag is beautiful. It's fully lined with the DA fabric. It has the box bottom. There you go, just plop out the bottom there. It has the box bottom so that it can sit beside me and I can knit straight out of it. And it's just beautiful. It's lightly quilted. Oh, Luna's on there too. Sorry, distracted. It's lightly quilted, so it stands up on its own, and it's honestly the most beautiful bag. It's just perfect, and it's such a nice size. I definitely think I'll be able to get my 2 skeins of yarn, because I will be alternating skeins, and my sweater project in here. It is just perfect. So good. Carol also included some stitch markers for me, and I love them. They're so cool. I've left them all kind of packaged up so I can show them to you. It took a great deal of restraint to do that, let me tell you. But we've got Hogwarts, we've got an owl, we've got a lightning bolt, and we have a goblet of fire. So yeah, these are just amazing. I would probably use them as stitch markers, but you can use them as progress keepers. Beautiful. I would definitely check out her single strand studio shop. It's far too early for me to have to say that many S's in a row, but you will find them on Etsy and on Instagram. I will put everything just on the screen here, and all the links will be in the show notes. But that is not all she sent, because she actually sent something for you guys. And forgive the crinkling, but I've left it wrapped up because it's so nicely packaged. There you go, it's all wrapped in plastic to keep it nice and safe. But this is beautiful. It's got a glittery red bottom, it's got a little tag on here, just like on mine, and the fabric is amazing. It's knitting fabric, so it's got Lean Mean knitting machine, Keep Calm and Knit. It's got the parts of the sheep, which I thought was really, here we go. So you've got mittens, poncho, belt, sweater, scarf, and it also comes with some beautiful stitch markers that I love knitting, a little yarn ball, some needles with a sweater on. This is beautiful. Thank you so much, Carol. It's exactly the same as my project bag, except mine is Harry Potter, of course. And it basically has the same construction. It's got the box bottom. It's just beautiful. And I have left it wrapped up so that I won't be tempted to use it myself. And this is for you guys. I wanted at first to keep this as a prize for the best year ever, Cal, but then I remembered that the 1st anniversary of the podcast is coming up, and I can't think of a better prize than this. Covered in knitting and all the things we love about knitting, this makes a great prize, I think, for the 1 year podcast giveaway. So do tune in a couple of weeks. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do it. I think I'll probably do it like I did the 2000 subscribers giveaway, where I'll just ask you to talk about something in a thread and I'll do a random number generator. As I said, if you would like to donate any patterns or anything so I can have a couple of prizes, that would be great. If you can't, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, do keep an eye out in a couple of weeks for how you can win this beauty. And in the meantime, do go and check out Carol's shop, because it is gorgeous. Her stuff is amazing. It looks beautiful, and I can attest to the quality of it. It is just lovely. And I can't wait for my brand new jumper to live in that bag. It's going to be great. Thank you so much. Now, I had planned to do a Here Be Spoilers segment this week. I wanted to share with you my top 3 books of all time, because I want to do a little series of top 3 books, top 3 films, and top 3 TV series. As you may know, I am absolutely passionate about stories in all forms. I love films, I love TV series. I probably love TV series more than films in some ways. And I love books, and I wanted to share them with you. But unfortunately, it being quite early in the morning and before I have to go out, I have decided to move that to next episode so that I'm not rushing, because the 3 books that I want to talk about are very near and dear to my heart. Spoiler alert, none of them are Harry Potter's. So I didn't want to rush through that. If you can think of something other than books, films and TV series that would be fun to share over the next few weeks in Here Be Spoilers, let me know. I was thinking of doing my top 3 theatre productions that I've seen, but I thought surely that's a bit too nerdy. That's even for me. But I do love the theatre, so if that is something that you would like to hear about, please let me know. The theatre is one of my all-time favourite things in the whole world, so if you would like to hear about that, let me know. But let's skip straight past that. You will hear all about that in the next episode and move straight on to knit and natter. In this week's knit and natter, I'm going to talk very little bit about my trip to Italy, and I say only a very little bit because I did do a lot of filming there, and I am trying to pull together all the kind of bits and bobs to create a video to share on the channel, mainly so that you can see what I was up to while I was there, and so that Rich and I have a nice memory of the time we had away together. But that might take me a little while because obviously I put the podcast first. That's what I spend my spare time editing. So it might take a little while to come out, but I wanted to tell you all about it. We had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to catch our 7 o'clock flight because we had to get ourselves to Victoria to get the Gatwick Express. And I was pretty tired. I slept on the plane. But I did find myself dozing off at about 6, 7 o'clock on the first day. So that first day I had the best sleep. I think I slept for about 11 hours that night. But the first day was incredible. We actually had our best meal of the entire holiday when we were out that first day. We went to a little place that was recommended to us by a friend of mine who is Italian. Called Bucamanzoni, and I would heartily recommend it if you ever go to Bologna. It was amazing. We discovered that sparkling red wine is actually really tasty. Who knew? And Rich had an amazing like bolognese tortellini, and I had nettle tagliatelle. Nettle. I just picked it because it was the oddest thing on the menu, and I thought, well, I gotta know how that tastes. And to be fair, I've made a nettle cake and I quite like the taste of it, so it's probably not that odd for me really. And it was amazing. It was so good, and that kind of set the tone for the holiday really, because we ate a lot. We had some incredible meals, and they weren't always sit down expensive meals. We didn't spend a great deal on our sit down meals, but we did have some incredibly cheap meals. A few evenings we just got a slice of pizza and sat in the square and watched the people go by and just ate these €1 slices of pizza that were amazing, and then got gelato on the way home. We did take a little day trip to Venice. We were also going to go to Verona, but we did a lot of walking and we were only there for 5 days, so we decided not to go to Verona after we'd been to Venice because it was a lot of travelling and it was quite tiring, and we were on holiday and we didn't want to come back exhausted. Venice was beautiful. Stepping out of the train station and you're just there and you can see these like canals and these boats going past and these beautiful bridges, and I had this immediate moment of like, wow, that is beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful place. And it's very magical in many ways because there are these homes that are just straight onto the water, and that it just looks so strange and so fantastical. It's a beautiful place and I would recommend going to see it. However, I am quite glad that we weren't staying in Venice because it was so busy. Because it is beautiful, it is a fantastic draw for tourists, which meant that it was jam-packed full of people. And we went on a Friday, so, you know, I'm sure it's busier over the weekend. It's stunning. We had an amazing meal there. Again, as I said, there's a theme. We had a lot of really good food. Rich had squid ink pasta, which meant that he basically got a plate full of black food, which was odd. I didn't think it looked particularly appetising, but he did give me some and it was very, very tasty. I just don't know if I could have eaten it all because it was just a plate full of black food. But it was great. We bought one souvenir while we were there, this tiny little hand-blown goldfish in a bowl, which is all packed away at the moment, but as soon as we get unpacked in a couple of weeks' time in our new home, I will show it to you because it's amazing that you've got this clear blob of glass with a little goldfish inside. I don't know how they do it. I've tried to find a video online. I don't know. All I know is it looks amazing. I am hoping that we get to go back to Italy at some point. I came home with a happy little food baby. So for me it was a great success. I would like to go to more holiday destinations next time I go to Italy. Having done 2 cities, I'm really curious to see what their kind of coast is like. I think that would be beautiful. I would heartily recommend Bologna if you like food. And if you are near enough to go to Venice, I would recommend checking it out because you won't see anything like it anywhere else. It's absolutely beautiful. The food, as I said, is amazing. I do really regret that we weren't able to get to Murano to see the glass blowing in action. That is something that I would love to go back and see because, you know, I am a knitter, I'm a crocheter, I craft, and to see other crafts in action fascinates me. I love watching documentaries about things like glass blowing and pottery because it's a skill, and having a skill myself, I know that the work that goes into it, and I just find it fascinating to see masters at work. So yeah, as you can probably tell, I had a great time. I also climbed a tower in Bologna, which was terrible and brilliant in equal measure. I don't mind small spaces, but I don't like feeling trapped. So if I'm in a small space, but I can see a window or a door and I know I can get out, doesn't bother me. If I'm in a small space and you close both of those exits and lock them, then I start to panic. But there was this amazing tower in the middle of the city in Bologna that you could climb, and we used to sit under it of an evening and have pizza, and we said, you know, we should do this, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I will probably be a little bit freaked out because it is going to be quite enclosed and there's not going to be any exits, but if I can keep my mind on the fact that if I don't like it I can just go down, I should be fine. So on the Sunday, so our last full day there, that's what we decided to do, and we climbed up, and the first few steps are stone, as you would imagine, twisting all the way up this tower, and then you open out onto a platform and the rest of it is all wooden. It's just these wooden stairs that just go around and around and around, which was fine, but because that meant the middle was wide open, I discovered I don't like heights that much. I've never had a problem before. I've climbed towers before. It's never bothered me. I think it was just that it was so open and these were wooden stairs, and it just really like terrified me, if I'm honest. So I'm climbing up and I'm climbing up, and Rich is up ahead, and every platform we got to, he was like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, no, I'm fine, just keep going, keep going." And I would just have my eyes on my toes the whole way up, which was the best of a bad situation because I didn't like looking at these rickety wooden stairs. I'm sure they weren't rickety, they felt rickety to me. But that was probably better than looking out and gazing and seeing this plummet straight through the middle of this tower. And we got to the top, and apparently I was white as a sheet. I don't say apparently, I was. We took a photo, I was white as a sheet. My legs were shaking quite a lot, but the view was incredible. You could see all of Bologna, you could see the mountains, and it was just stunning. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. I didn't look down. I tried. I leaned out and looked down, and it was just like, no, not for me. No, thank you. So any filming that you see from this tower day, Rich did. I couldn't. I was not very well, and I had to have a little sit down when I got to the bottom. I did it though. I felt very brave because I did it, and I was terrified, but I did it anyway. So yeah, as you can probably tell, I had a really, really lovely time in Italy. The highlight for me was just getting to spend some time with Rich, just on our own. I've said before, it was quite tough last year, and this year obviously we've had to delay our move, and he will be going away for a little while shortly after we move. So it was just really, really lovely to have time, just the two of us, wandering around, chatting, eating, making plans, reminiscing, and just where should we go next, what should we eat next, and having these adventures together. And I really loved, that was the highlight for me. You know, we could have been in Bodmin and I would have been happy. We were very lucky that we weren't in Bodmin. Bodmin is beautiful, but I've been to Bodmin and I'd never been to Italy before. So it was wonderful to experience that with someone that I care about so much and who is basically my best friend. Well, on that sappy note, I know he's going to die if he sees this episode. I wish you a very, very happy week. I hope you get lots of knitting done, and I will see you very soon for another cup of tea. Take care, bye. Would I knit another crochet, knit. You think I would know, wouldn't you? Would I crochet another granny square blanket? Granny stripe. Oh God, I am not good today.